Hey there, my name is Megan McVeigh, and I'm going to be walking you through the work that I've done on the mobile app Immerso, which is an app that's meant to help users learn new vocabulary. So, since user centered design puts users at the center of all development decisions, the first thing I needed to do was to go talk to users to learn more about how they go about learning a new language. And as you can see here, I did that in kind of two parts. For part one, I tracked down 6 users who had studied the language in the last 6 months, and I asked them 8 questions each. As you can see in that graphic, those are the questions. And these were basically just asking about their pain points, how they think, what they need when they're studying a language. And I also downloaded 3 well-known competitor apps just to get a better feel for what was already on the market, and then also to check out their strengths and weaknesses. All right, so with all this great feedback, I was then able to identify my users' goals and create a persona. So personas are really cool because they help humanize users by giving them a face and a defined set of behaviors and goals. In this case, my user persona is Brooke Jacobs, and she's essentially a representation of all the feedback that I received during my interviews. And once you're able to create this hypothetical person, you can then create more specific statements about user needs. So it's really cool to be able to go through this process. So in this case, Brooke Jacobs, she's an advanced speaker who's frequently traveling for work, and she really needs a tool that can help her practice what she wants to learn when she wants to learn it. And her key goals are it has to be easy to use. She needs to have visuals. She really would like to have a way to personalize and be able to, jump around and study different things at different times. Having a variety of ways to be tested, having bite-sized lessons so that she can do them quickly on the go, and also to have, photos and videos, especially of native speakers, to be able to better understand the nuances of a language. So with that in mind, the overall problem statement that I kind of had in the back of my head as I was doing all this was essentially, what's the problem and who's my target user? And again, in this case, Brooke is my persona. She needs a tool to help her learn and practice advanced sentence structures because she's an advanced speaker, and she doesn't want to feel stupid because she's speaking with native speakers. Now, in order to create this statement, I had to think about the situations and actions that a user might actually take while using my app. So in this case, as you can see with Brooke, she's speaking with locals, she's studying a language, she's traveling abroad, she's in transit, and then she's also studying alone. So that's just kind of to give a little bit more context of why and where she would be using this app. Additionally, in order to figure out, what features my app should even have, I needed to create something called user stories to be able to translate Brooke's needs into actual requests for features. So in this case, some of her key challenges as an advanced speaker, she wants to be able to, again, bounce around and not be interrupted, be tested on a variety of ways and not just have like regurgitation, having smaller batches of words, being able to study when she's not near Wi-Fi, having graphics and visual cues so that she can actually make mental connections and remember better, and also some way to chart progress so that she can stay motivated. So I'll just run through a couple of slides of the prototype real quick. As you can see here, that center screen is the main menu, and screen 1, which is kind of to the upper left, is basically, this is just describing the 4 different ways that a user could study. So again, screen 1, you could take a lesson. Screen 2, you can study via reading. Screen 6, you can study by listening. And then screen 7, you can study via flashcards. And then at the bottom of the screen, you can see the profile settings and progress screens, and those are just the main menu nav icons. So again, for the 4 different ways you can learn, the first way being lessons, and I'll just run through these really quick. You can see you can take a lesson, listen to native speakers, then you can take a quiz, and a user can be tested in a variety of ways, and then you essentially get a results screen. By reading, you can select the category, the actual article, you can take a quiz on the article, and then you can rate it, you can share it with a friend or see how you did on the quiz. Through listening, you can listen to podcasts or international pop music. You can download, you can play, you can share, you can rate. And then the final method, flashcards. So being able to select decks, take quizzes, upload new vocabulary cards, getting results after the quiz. Again, just a quick summation of the 4 different ways that this app is offering users the ability to learn a new language. All right. So in order to actually evaluate the ability of users to complete any of these tasks that I had set out, I needed to do some usability testing. So 6 questions that I came up with was basically just to see how folks could navigate through the app and could they actually do some of the things that I was hoping they'd be able to figure out how to do on the app. So as you can see here, can they take a quiz? Can they listen to a podcast? Could they, update a flashcard or update their profile? So these were the 6 direct tasks, and I'll just go through real quick. On the left side of the next few slides, you'll be able to see the original design prototype that I had come up with, and then just a few little notes on the side that had come up during the usability testing. So in this case, with the flashcard quiz, and this was something I learned through all my user tests on this page, was that there was just too many graphics. For me, it was like easy to see, oh, hey, these are clues. But for someone that's never seen the screen before, it was just way too much. And that was kind of like a main theme overall, was just pare things down, make them simple. And even with the buttons, you don't need to have all the options necessarily, like really make the call to action simple. Listen to a podcast. Again, the phone on the left is showing the initial prototype, and the photo on the right is showing the new prototype. In this case, it was just a matter of removing buttons and removing confusing icons. Adding to a flashcard, same thing, just really paring down on the graphics and only having things drop down once people had selected them so they weren't overwhelmed with all the information at once. And then there were things like just where different pages lived. So for example, like making a settings change. Should it go under your profile or under your settings page? And I found that even though I thought it should go under the profile, most of my users went to the settings page. So that was a great way to see that my mode of thinking was definitely different from my users. The 5th task, just being able to upload a new vocab word, same thing, being able to pare down on what's on that screen, and then also being able to add some more labels, because not everyone necessarily, associates certain imagery with certain icons and all that good stuff. The 6th task was to take a lesson quiz. In this case, it was simply a matter of swapping out a graphic that users thought represented quiz when in fact it was just a lesson. So I know that was real fast, but just in terms of next steps, it's basically we would be an iteration of more usability testing, going back, revising, refining the design, eventually creating a medium fidelity prototype. So being able to click around and have more of the flow feel. And then again, more usability testing, revising and refining, and then eventually creating a high fidelity prototype where you can test out colors and more, like the buttons and user interface elements to see if that's going to be resonating with users. And then finally, just in terms of lessons learned, I really enjoy being able to create something that hadn't been created before. That was really cool. And also offering customization. I think the folks that I tested really reiterated that not everyone learns the same way. So it's nice to have technology that you can tailor to fit your own needs, and also to have things that are easy to understand and navigate. Some things that I learned that I mentioned already previously was just keeping the screens clean, making the call to actions really obvious, and also not trying to do too much. It's exciting to have an app and to have all these ideas, but to really be realistic about what you can accomplish and to remember who your target audience is. And then finally, just being able to use labels. Don't assume that folks are going to understand what icons mean, and it's really quite easy to do, and it saves a lot of headache. Well, and that's a wrap. Thanks for listening.